Hello and welcome to Griefers Pub.
Said live.
Tonight, I was gonna wait until Sim said something, but it was me being more awkward than anything else. Tonight, we're gonna be talking with our good friend in the bottom corner. Let me point which way. It's this. That's it.
Yeah, like bottom for you, bottom left,
There,
I think.
to the left.
Yeah.
Okay. We are hanging out with Durgan from University of Stanton. Welcome, Durgan.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, I
We're gonna
forgot
be talking a
the
little.
clapping wave file. Sorry, guys.
Do you have that? Wait.
No, I don't.
Do it.
No, I don't.
No. We can do. Is it this one? I don't know if that works.
There we go. Yeah, I got it.
So, yeah. Sorry, my brain is like
awkward. Well, okay. How about this? First off, can we at least thank Asylum for his subscription?
Asylum, thanks for the 3 months. Yep.
Nice.
So the first question that I actually have for you, Durgan, is can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how University of Stanton started?
Sure. So I've been playing Star Citizen in earnest for probably about 4 years. I guess my history in the game there is, obviously came in, kind of played it casually, 6 months on, off, come in, check it out, see that half of the stuff was not working and log out for another 6 months. It was something a good friend of mine had turned me on to back in, I think 2017 was when I first backed. And for that first few years, I really didn't touch it much at all. I started getting a little further into it when actually I started seeing more YouTubers putting out content for it. One of which was actually Citizen Kate, because I had seen some of her videos back when I was playing Elite Dangerous. I had seen her shift over to Star Citizen and started coming to understand, like, okay, this is the kind of stuff they've actually got possible over there. This is pretty cool. So I joined Skunkworks for a while. That would have been about mid 2021, I guess. So about 3 years ago. And kind of worked my way up in that organization. That thing had its whole, that drama's been publicized ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Twitchy's been there.
I think, yeah.
But I came out of that and was kind of, I had the feeling at that point that I wanted to run my own org for a while, see, where the game was going. And I started kind of sitting down and just kind of processing a lot of things in life. About the new year before last, I was sitting there kind of like, okay, I need to really lean into my strengths and some of the things that I do. And one of the routine things that has always come up in my course of my normal life and gaming, everything, is that I've always had kind of a teacher's mindset. So as far as trying to, take a topic and find a way to pick it apart and present it to someone in a way that they'll understand it and just, make it click for them. That's something that I've always been very good at and fallen into naturally. And so a couple things happened that year. I had kind of the seed of the idea for University of Stanton. I didn't move on it right away, but I also picked up my CrossFit level 1 certification. I started coaching that on the side. I was like, I need to do things in my life and in every aspect of my life that involve teaching or guiding or empowering in some way. And
well,
so
that explains why you said you used to work out on stream.
Yeah, that was actually kind of part of it. I was trying to push, like, that was one of the early ideas, and it didn't stick. It wasn't as practical for a stream, and I think in a lot of ways streaming itself wasn't really a great fit for me personally. But it was a good part of the iterative process, I guess.
Yeah.
So from there, I kind of let the idea of University of Stanton cook. And my initial idea with it was to do something similar to what I'd done in SWG Legends, which is it's an emulator server for Star Wars Galaxies. They actually have a huge community over there. And I ended up running the space training program for it. I don't know if you've played Star Wars Galaxies or not, but they have Jump to Light Speed, which is basically a space sim in the vein of like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. And it's built right into the MMO.
Yep.
Like Star Citizen, it's incredibly complex. There's a lot that goes into farming up parts, creating your parts, learning to actually fly your ship well. And it's not something that people just jump into and do very easily because there's basically no guidance in the game on how to do it. So I built an entire training program for this guild out there and ran it for about a year or so to basically introduce all these concepts to someone and help them get it. So it was kind of coming off of that I said, okay, well, what if I did something like that for Star Citizen? Because I've seen some people have their guide videos, and there are a couple orgs out there that'll give a little bit of help. But there was also, as I was finding it, a lot of misinformation, I'm going to gently say. A
lot of
lot of
misinformation.
Fake
opinions
news
on what are the right ways to do
wasn't
things, and a lot of
wasn't the
those opinions are
best.
wrong. Yeah. um, so I saw a niche in there that like there wasn't really a lot on YouTube in terms of just straight up guides for how to learn the game, how to do specific things, especially when it came down to really drilling into like the stats on things. Finding out what's good this patch and why, and introducing the mindset to be able to come back to these things next patch and say, okay, what's changed here? What angle do I need to look at this from? So that was kind of where the idea of the channel came from, which was, let's put videos out intermittently that hit some of these topics and focus specifically on them. And I think as I finally launched the channel, I was kind of getting to the point where I realized, all right, trying to actually do firsthand teaching, one-on-one is without a huge community of other instructors behind it, which I didn't have. And we built people that were we built a group of people that were very good at picking this stuff apart. But we didn't really end up with many people that were willing to
Contribute.
that had the availability rather to
Yeah.
sit down and like take students through it one at a time.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it was easier to kind of liberate ourselves from that and go the YouTube channel route. And the reason that I think that I was willing to lean into that side of it so much is because we put one video out, and that video blew up in the course of like 3 days. First
Mhm.
video on the channel, like 10,000 something views. I was absolutely
which
blown
video
away
was
by it.
that? Was that the one with
That was
that
the
ship
guide to
weapons?
ship weapons. That was
Okay.
the 323 Master Mode's guide to ship weapons. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that one, I think it benefited from a lot of things. First of all, it was timely. Like 323 had just come out. All the weapons had just changed. Master Modes was fresh and new. Everybody
Yeah.
had questions about it. So of course, that's one of the main things being searched up on YouTube. Second, I had Salty Mike do a react to it like the next day. And I found out about that
Oh,
the day
really?
after. Yeah, I hadn't requested it. I didn't know he was going to.
He just did,
I
yeah.
started getting pinged. I started looking in the comments like, "Hear from Salty Mike's. Hear from Salty Mike's." I was like, "Okay."
When did this happen?
And then I went
That's
looked it up,
awesome.
and sure enough, like he had done that on stream and then posted the video of it, and like that was another like huge spike on the chart there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, between that couple of things, just like happenstance and like that little boost of initial support, like first month, I think we hit like 4,500 subscribers, something like that. Which a lot of Star Citizen channels I've seen like struggle to get there over
Yeah.
the course of
Oh, yeah.
months, years,
Mhm.
and yeah. So I felt like it was just incredibly fortunate to have this thing take off. In
That's
the
really
midst
encouraging.
Yeah, it was. And I was like, I would be an idiot not to lean into this and really continue it. And so I kind of started putting aside the idea of I'm probably not going to use as much of my time doing, one-on-one instruction. I'm probably going to put more time into actually building this content and
Yeah.
playing the game and getting,
Mhm.
good material out there that's really useful to people. The more of those like key moments that you can capture, like when a patch first comes out or a new feature comes live or a new feature is being talked about, like all that stuff is your audience is there watching and waiting for stuff like that to come out. So that's, what I'm trying to ride there. At the same time, I was also trying to run the organization that I had kind of started building and sculpting over that time. I didn't really fully know what I wanted it to be at first.
Yeah.
My initial thought was, I have a group called Red Dragon Platoon that a lot of us have played games together. A lot of really good friends in there that since 2003, 2004, they were from that initial Star Wars Galaxies experience of mine.
Yep.
And my idea with building that as an org here was to give them kind of a landing pad if any of them ever decided to come in and play this game, because to my mind it was a natural progression that they would like this after something like Galaxies. That hasn't really proven to be the case, but I'm confident now that if they ever do come in here, the guides that I'm going to set up with University of Stanton, that's going to catch them and get them where they need to be.
Mhm.
I think I've told you guys about a month or so, I actually shut Red Dragon Platoon SC down.
Yep.
I stepped down from lead on there, and none of the others that were in the officer positions really wanted to continue with it. They, I think, kind of all want to do their own. A lot of them really, and that was kind of a core of the problem with it, is all of them had very different goals and aspirations and desires for what they wanted to do in the game, and it was really difficult to try and manage all of those different things in there. and then try to also find the time to play the game that I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
So, between that and the YouTube channel, I think that all kind of came to a head, and I was like, all right, I need to reassess my time and where it's going now. Let's go ahead and shuffle this out so I can focus on the channel and I can focus on getting into the gameplay that play it from the angle I want to at the level I want to play it. And I think it's been a really good move.
It's
So,
yeah.
so
It's, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, obviously, this YouTube, I mean, the video, especially Salty Mike and everything covering it. So, what is like your favorite part about producing these kinds of videos for the community?
I would say it goes right down to the core purpose of it, which is seeing that click, seeing someone pick up a concept that they didn't get before, and now they understand the game better. Now they're having a better experience through it. I would say that was definitely part of it, but a close second has definitely been seeing how it's continued to ramp up as I've put the content out. Like the word is out there. I see people talking about it in game global chat, and like the responses I've gotten from the comments have just been so overwhelmingly positive. Like, I mean, I'll take that all day. That's that's a great
100%, that's
affirmation
awesome.
that I'm on the right track.
What I think is really unique about your channel is we have, you're very like blunt about stuff. The way that you like present stuff is very like organized and very to the point. And having that also from like a PvP background comes, it is such a like refreshing like point of view to hear, rather than just the next like Bob channel saying, oh yeah, put these guns on there and then you'll be the best at everything you can do, right?
It's
Well,
funny
you
that-
actually like you do like detailed like breakdowns for every weapon, so that is really appreciated, and it's really cool to see that like kind of
So
growth.
it's funny you saying that, by the way, because when I came into Star Citizen from Elite Dangerous, I went scouring through the YouTube or whatever, looking for a guide of what to put on my PvP ship. And I think I had a, what I have? I had a Pisces. So anyway, I didn't know what I was doing. But anyway, and I stumbled across Subliminal's videos, and it had like a PvP loadout suggestion. Yeah, I don't. I could see it in his face. What the heck? I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that he was
support
not
you.
the
It's
guy.
okay, Elder.
Yeah, it turns out he's very PvE oriented. Didn't know anything about
personally,
PvP.
my like go to when I was like playing the game was always Board Gamer for like PvP. Like hence, he was like he
Yeah.
always knew what he was talking about. So
Oh, really?
it's a joke.
Did you get into the Alpha Strike Force? Is that what
I
it's called?
did get into the Alpha Strike team. Yep.
All right.
I'm
What's
one
the
of the leaders now.
qualifier for that? Existing? All right, I'm done.
No, I
become
absolutely
fierce.
agree with you there, though. Like that,
Mhm.
that is kind of a commonality with a lot of the YouTube channels. They do come from that very single player / PvE kind of background.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of PvP representation there, and it's certainly not from, at least.
Well, there is more now.
There are PvP channels, yeah, and this place is one of them. But like, not just about PvP necessarily, but about approaching the topics from the standpoint of you are taking part in a PvP enabled world. A lot of those channels completely fail to acknowledge that, and I think it's kind of left a lingering misconception among the community about the kinds of things that they are required or entitled or what have you to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is easier now, though. It is easier now. So I jumped into the game a little over 3 years ago, I think it was. And then it was, I think there was a lot less representation. It was pretty much Avenger 1, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Buccaneer.
Well,
Meta.
even
Let's
a lot
go.
of these, even a lot of these PvP channels that are out there, they might produce a video every once in a while that's like, hey, put this weapon on and fly this and blah blah. They'll give you the real quick, vague video of this is what you should do. But most of their channel is just them going around in Arena Commander, but there's no teaching, there's no explaining why they're doing something or why they're not. I mean, there are a few of them, and I'm not saying that none of them do, but there's like you said, there's definitely a niche for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, by the way, I'm not going to say that Avenger 1 stuff wasn't good, but at any time I tried to listen to any of his video, I just couldn't. Like, I wasn't absorbing anything. I just didn't understand what the hell he was saying. So I just went out there.
That's right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
Yep.
everybody's content is going to hit a little differently. Like some
exactly.
things is
Yeah.
going to be more absorbable to some people than others. Like I watched some of his stuff early on. I think as a video producer and instructor in that format, I think he does great. Um, I think him leaning into that is fine. I actually did learn some stuff from some of his earlier videos.
See,
But
I'm
it's
more
everybody's
hands-on though.
different. Everybody's
Yeah,
got a
that's
different
my problem. I'm hands-on.
Mhm.
Needed more MS Paint is what Arcane's.
I do actually have a question for you, Durgan.
Yeah.
So speaking of comments and the response that you've gotten, for like demographic, what do you typically see for like an audience? Are you seeing like PvE, PvP, maybe a mix of both? What
I
do
think
you
it's
usually see?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like I've talking to people in the PvP community, like yeah, I've gotten some headway there. I've got some fans there.
Hmm.
I think it's probably some of them find it nice to see that, and it hasn't been that openly represented so far yet because I've stuck kind of strictly to certain topics,
Yeah,
and with like a ship review, I'll talk a little bit about the PvP implications of it, how it works. Um, but we haven't really addressed a lot of those topics head on just yet, and I think that probably a good majority of the followership that I've seen so far has been from a PvE background.
Yeah.
Um, and then the rest of the PvP content's going to get sprung on them, and then they're going to leave. So we'll see.
I
We'll,
I want
we'll see how it goes.
I want to jump
We
on
have
this
some plans.
comment, by the way.
Yeah,
Scrap Wars says
Scrap
so many
Wars.
people still don't realize PvP and multiplayer are what SE is mainly about, certainly
yeah.
going forward. So I want to comment on that. Multiplayer, yes. According to CIG, it's a PvE game that allows PvP. So PvP
Okay.
is not,
that was
but it,
misquoted.
but
I would like to say that's a misquote, misinformation.
so, but
You were saying.
so certainly by the way that like the design like persistence, which definitely favors, I think, pirating types and whatnot. I would say it does favor quite a bit the multiplayer PvP aspect.
Yeah.
It's got to be a dangerous verse, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the same
100%.
as saying that. I think that's the same as saying that Eve Online is a PvE game that allows for PvP.
yeah.
Okay, it's a PvP game. Like, if it allows for it, it's part of it.
Honestly,
It's there.
yeah,
Like, you're
it's
not going
both
to
at
get
that
away from
point.
that.
Like, it's okay to like just say that to have like a healthy MMO ecosystem, you need to have both. If you
Mhm.
don't have PvP, if you don't have PvE, something is going to be too stale about the gameplay, or there's not going to be anybody to like target. Let's just be real. Like it goes hand in hand either way. So
And it has to be
Yeah.
balanced properly. The
Yeah.
exactly,
whole
hundred
experience has to be
percent.
balanced properly.
Yeah.
And if it's not dangerous due to other players, it's going to end up being dangerous due to AI. I mean, they're not going to want to make it easy. The only difference between AI and other players is AI doesn't basically, scowl and mock you over global chat, which
That
I
would be
don't do.
amazing though if they did that.
I know, would be pretty funny, yeah.
You just have like random like comment, just whatever his name is up in the air, saying like, good job.
Yeah.
What did he hit?
Well,
What did I
well,
hit you with? A small moon, or just like
Can
one
you
of
yeah,
those like really
yeah. I
bad
was
like
just gonna say.
comments?
I used that phrase for the first time in one of the videos that put the top 3 ships for everything guide out a week before
Mhm.
last, and that was the first. I was like, all right, I need to throw it in at some point. I finally got to get good into that one.
Can you imagine a bot telling you that skill issue?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Why is that not in there? Like he comes through
That is a thing in some games. They'll be
MFD.
like, if you can't get the directions right, just uninstall the game now. It's not meant for you. It's just kind of like intentionally just making fun of you at that
Oh,
point.
like breaking, what do they call that? Breaking the fourth wall. The AI breaks the fourth
Pretty
wall.
much, yeah. Pretty
You
much,
should
yeah.
just uninstall.
Yeah. So Durgan, you were mentioning the which guide was that you were talking about, where you are the top 3 ships in the game?
Yeah, that was one
Yeah.
of the most
Okay.
requested that I had so far. It came down to a tie between a couple of backers that voted over on Patreon,
Hmm.
and I put the vote out to the wider community to kind of break the tie, and by
Yep.
like a 6-1 margin, like everybody wanted the ships. I was like,
That's wild.
okay, I'll go with
Okay.
that,
Let me
and
get
it's
a
been probably the next most successful
see.
video I've had since the weapon one.
I was just gonna ask, which one have you had the like most response to? You can bring it back over to.
Definitely
that page.
the ship weapons. I think that
Ship
one is
weapons.
continuing to get hits. It's continuing to get comments. That one, I mean, it's slowed down, but like it hasn't stopped.
Yeah. So what I just want to like mention this again. I think what you do really well in this is 1 second. Why is it not in full screen? It's doing this again.
It's perfect for
Um.
us. Yeah, it's
Okay.
perfect.
It looks good. It just skipped to the end.
Is it? Okay. So what I like is that you break down each of the individual parts. It's really like to the point. You put all of these like good visuals for like resources. Even someone as like ADHD as me could like follow along with pretty much everything that you put into this, and it's very informative. Like it
But
breaks down like all of the what was it, Elder?
oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna have a break in what you're saying. I was just gonna ask him how he does the camera panning. Do you use that game, uh, not Game Glass, the other one? How do you do the panning like that? It was pretty smooth.
Panning. Oh, just moving the camera through the world.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll just
Walk.
I'll like turn and position the camera like sideways to where the character is. Run the walk speed down really low. Crouch. Like just
Nice.
slowly move. I kind of experimented with using a gamepad to like do the smooth turning thing for a while, but unfortunately I've got an allergy to those. I can't like touch a game controller for more than like a minute. I start swelling up, get a rash.
Really?
Put on some like
What?
Yeah,
You
just
messing
like-
with
I
me?
just-
Nah, you're
I
playing.
can't.
Is that
I just
a
can't
joke?
stand controllers that badly.
It's like, was it made out of latex or something?
I thought we
Yeah.
were friends, man. I thought we were friends.
And lucky for me, I've got a steady enough right hand that most people don't notice when I'm doing that kind of turning with the mouse. So
Yeah.
it works
Okay.
out.
So, aside from like the like positive feedback that you've gotten from like say your community, from people that have seen the channel, what has been your favorite part about this like YouTube project just overall, do you think? If you had to pick.
I mean, basically what I said there, I think, is just seeing so many people kind of have the light bulb click on, and finding that they've got a lot more capability now when they're playing the game, when they're out in the verse,
When they're actually like
by
informed, right?
by having had something explained to them on a
Yep.
level that's deeper than just do this and everything will be fine. But by like making something click to the point that they understand the hows and the whys, and more importantly, how to go and find that information again and come to a new conclusion when the next patch yanks the rug out from under them and they've got to figure everything out from the ground up again.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the
Right.
stuff really isn't rocket science, but you do have to know where to look for it.
Pretty much, yeah. So that actually brings up kind of another question that I was thinking of. We're gonna kind of move on to the next topic. So your channel obviously is like informative, full of very like helpful guides. Do you have any future guides planned for the channel?
I do, yeah. The most recent vote that I put down for the community, the winning vote came up to be a flight basics guide, which was something that I kind of planned to get to again. Like if you saw later on that video there was kind of a FV 101, 102, 103 thing scrolling on the side. It was a lineup of courses that we had for like going through one-on-one as an instructor with students that would get them through everything from setting the game up and optimizing your graphics, making sure your controls were set up right, and then getting you through the basics of controlling your ship. Not just controlling your ship, but controlling your ship in decoupled mode specifically, because I founded this from the viewpoint that that is the superior way to fly. Everyone should know how to do it. And it's really not that difficult if you start on that level and actually build yourself a foundation for it.
Yep. Otherwise, you're
so
kind of like handicapping yourself essentially, right?
in a way,
By
yeah.
having-
It's
those
you're
assists on.
relying on the ship to do things for you that it might not necessarily always do properly.
Right.
And you really should have,
Especially now.
Especially
yeah,
with AI.
yeah,
being
definitely.
as, like-
You should definitely have more of your ship's capabilities at your fingertips. So that flight basics is going to be the next major thing coming out. I am going to put a small video out before that, which is kind of like Welcome to Star Citizen prep guide, and that's going to be getting the settings, controls, all that stuff kind of set up beforehand. Both of those things seem to be very important with a lot of new players coming in with the latest free flies that have been going on. I expect both of those to do really well. And then I'm going to move on from that to some fundamentals about playing in the persistent universe, things that kind of differentiate that from Arena Commander and the other, basic areas where you just go and, tool around with your ship, and all the things that you have to think about when you're setting up your logistics and running missions and picking your home station and all that in the persistent
Yep.
universe. And then after that is one that I plan for a much longer time, which is, it really brings this full circle to the core of what the channel is about, which is preparing players for the dangers of playing in Star Citizen in the persistent universe, where you are acknowledging that you're playing in a PvP enabled game. We're taking it from that perspective right from the get go. That's why we're training them in decoupled flight first, because it gives them an edge. That's why we're going to train them to use the power triangle management in basic flight properly from the beginning, because it gives them an edge. These are things that, you go into the persistent universe against some schmo who's been playing for 6 years and has never bothered to learn anything. 90% of the time you're gonna be head and shoulders over top of a player like that if you know some basics like that. And a lot of these other guides really don't teach that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
the fourth video in that guide is going to be one that I call defensive mindset, which is basically approaching the persistent universe from that perspective of, I'm in a PvP environment. People can hit me at any time for any reason. I need to know where I can expect it and where I can reduce my risk.
Sorry, guys, my audio cut out. I'll be back. Something
Oh,
just
okay, no
happened, so
problem.
I'll be back as soon as possible. Sorry, guys. 1 second.
Yeah, so it's
I-
kind of, yeah, go ahead.
I can't help but feel that the fact that this game is like constantly under this development and there's all these changes.
Let's do the next question that I had for you.
Can you hear me?
was,
Hello?
How do you deal with
He can't.
stats
You can't hear me.
in like an ever-changing environment? I'm sorry. 1 second. I was just gonna set that up, and then I gotta do a proper like PC restart because my
Can you hear
audio
me?
driver is having issues.
Can you
One
hear
second.
Elder? Can you hear any of us?
I don't
Go
think
ahead,
he
Greg.
can.
So I was to say, okay, so like I was saying though, the fact that the game is constantly under development, there's always this like constant like set of changes coming through, right? It's almost like consistently feeding content as well, right? It's like you'll never run out of things to talk about, and even if you have, it's like there's got to be updates, right? You did
Exactly.
weapons
There's always a
for
patch
example.
cycle.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
even if you're almost having this like writer's block, so to speak,
hmm
you can kind of revert back to something you've done before, technically, because like weapons, for example, since you made that video, the weapons are already changing, velocities and stuff
Yep.
like that, right?
Yep.
Which is cool. I think it's good. I think it works well to be able to have that ability to consistently like have content and be able to continue updating. I think that works
Yeah,
to your
absolutely.
benefit. Oh, it depends
Yeah,
how much time you got.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah,
changes
that
happen
is
a
going to
lot.
be the limiting factor ultimately, because this stuff does take time, and
Yeah.
I'm not the fastest with it. I've been learning a new video editing tool the whole time I've been doing this. I basically started fresh with DaVinci Resolve, and that weapons
that's
video was
nice.
the first thing I'd ever done with that, and it is nice, but it's a new tool set, and it does not work exactly the same way that like
Quick
Sony Vegas
keys.
does. Yeah,
Quick keys.
I still got a lot of those I need to learn.
What I do
Um,
is every time I edit a video, I'll learn one new quick key.
Yeah,
You know
there
what
you
I'm
go.
saying?
That's
Makes it
solid.
easy. It's not overwhelming, and you won't forget the next time. Because if you try to lay them all out, unless you have like it laid out in front of you, but if you try to like memorize all these quick keys all at once, you're gonna go back and be like, why was this one again? So just
yeah.
like one or
That's the
two
same
each
thing.
time you edit.
It's funny you put it like that too, because like that's one of the things I'm going to introduce when we go into like the video about setting up your controls and mapping your keybinds and getting your ship under control, all that stuff. Because a lot of people have this tendency to go out and grab, they'll get a new pair of sticks and they'll go in there and either go and just madly rebind everything they can possibly find to every button in there, or they'll go get one of these like pre-made key set things and just
I
like
hate
slap
that.
it on there. It's got all these functions that they have no clue and they're sitting there struggling trying to figure out what's what. And no, that's not how you start that. You start with an absolute bare minimum control set, just a couple buttons, just your axes. Start there, and then when you need something, think, where would I reach for to do this? And then you find that one thing and you play with that one thing for a while.
Yeah,
and then you can go through and add a little bit more to it.
I've always been the same way too. Yeah. I
did it-
would just
did it
add
really
one like I
hard
did.
way.
What's that?
I said I did it the really hard way. I literally made a list of all the buttons that I would need. I
Oh
counted
my
how many
goodness.
buttons I'd have between the two, and then I listed all the buttons that I would absolutely need. And then here's the complicated part. Then I tried to see how many of those buttons I would be able to hit simultaneously and map them according to that. That's how I did it.
I mean, that's the concurrency is an
That's a
important
choice.
thing. You can't have too much finger gymnastics when it comes to the important stuff. So,
playing
yeah,
DDR with your
props
hands at
for
that
that
point.
approach.
Yeah, translate well into other areas potentially. Anyway,
It turns into some like ninjutsu.
Nope, I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah, but
So
so that's what I always do. Same, just to throw it on there. Same thing, kind of like bare minimum, and then start adding a new bind as I realize I need it. You know.
Yep. There's
kind of
beauty
catch
in
me up
simplicity.
a little bit. What did I kind of miss there? Sorry about that, guys. We just had like an audio driver
Well,
crash.
we kind of had a little bit of a rant about how you're very unreliable, so we got that out of the way.
It was a total derail.
That's totally what we talked
Good
about.
talk.
Yeah.
Good talk. I'll see you guys later. It was fun.
All right, now we can have a real conversation.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so the question I had for you is you've got this ever-changing like what do you call it, alpha environment where all those values are going to change from patch to patch. How do you keep up with that, and how do you keep people informed with like say a weapons guide if like all those values are going to be changing constantly? Because sometimes
We
it
kind of
feels like
just
those
talked
are
about
just
that.
did you?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Messed up.
Well, I'll say,
That's what I
a
missed.
little
That's
bit
what
we
I
did.
missed.
Yeah,
That's what I
we
missed.
talked
Okay,
about it
okay.
kind of from the standpoint of like, it's all the stuff changes one patch to the next. So if I'm ever out of ideas for content, all I need to do is go and revisit a guide that was at the previous patch.
Mhm.
Something in it will have changed. Bam, new video. And that's I'm absolutely going to be doing a 324 weapons guide when that comes out. Like that stuff
Yep.
is changing so much, it's going to deserve it.
Because we got what
It's not
is
gonna be able to
upcoming
keep
in 3.24 includes like changes to what repeaters this
Repeaters are
time?
going to be a big one. Yeah, they get
Some of
about,
the
I want to say it was about a
velocities.
10% buff to damage.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and
It's a buff
there's
to
probably some other
damage.
things.
And then it's a debuff to cannon velocity, I believe. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd have to look again. I haven't 100% kept up on that. I usually try and wait on that until it hits PTU and you've got Urkel and SP
Yeah.
Viewer to kind of go back to.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
I think the deeper answer to that is not alone. I've got people I collaborate with. Oka from Iron Point was incredibly helpful with getting a lot of the data behind the first round of videos out. Kestrel One over at Shadow Moses does a
Yep.
lot of analysis work. The guys that run Urkel and SP Viewer, it takes a whole community to really pull this information together. And it's definitely not something that I do by myself.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Light strike meta.
Light strike meta all the way. The
It's
question
coming.
I was actually going to ask is, how do you feel viewers will benefit from having that defensive mindset that you were just talking about? Do you think maybe we'll see less like PvP like chat going on? People understand, hey, I need to be prepared before actually getting into the verse, or are they just going to fall back on those, insults?
It depends. The
Yep.
most difficult part of that course for everyone is going to be managing one's emotions, and that is a topic I'm going to touch on that, because a lot of
Yep.
people fail to understand that why did you kill me? Why did you blow me up? There wasn't anything. You weren't showing any skill. Like, no, they weren't. They were looking for the reaction that you're giving them right now.
Pretty much.
The
Yeah.
reason they killed you is that.
It's probably the
And I
only
think-
reliable thing in
yeah.
the game right now.
Yeah, and a lot of people have.
Literally go into any of the PvP discords, and I guarantee you they're going to have some sort of salt.
There's,
channel.
yeah,
I've
there's
got some
salt
good
channel
copy
everywhere,
pastas. If
every
you guys want
time,
me to
yeah.
post those, let me know. I've got good copy pastas from like 4 or 5.
Oh yeah,
And
I agree. Like
Make 'em stop.
I'm in for it too. I will absolutely salt mine every day. So like
Mhm.
it comes from a place of like understanding it personally.
Yeah.
But it's also something that you don't have to feed. Like you can make the decision not to do that. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially because we get a lot of gamers that aren't gamers, really is the better way to put it. We get a lot of citizens in this game now that don't have any gaming background whatsoever. They have limited internet exposure if you come to it from a gaming perspective, and they don't get it. Like, welcome aboard. It's going to be a rough ride.
Yep.
And I think that's something that I have never seen a Star Citizen guide touch on. But so
Fun
it's going to
fact:
include
River
that, but
Grit didn't have a gaming background at all until Star Citizen.
really,
He
Yeah,
used to play Sea of
Never been in a
Thieves.
flying
he
game
just had
until
troll in
this
his
one.
blood, I guess.
He played Sea of Thieves way back when.
what's
Dude,
that?
Do you remember? He played Sea of Thieves prior to Star Citizen.
One game.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe I guess.
I'm just
He
saying
said
that's
Star
one
Citizen.
game
He
where you
told
have
me
like
Star
VoIP
Citizen.
and everything else.
He
was
said
definitely
Star
a Sea of-
Citizen to
yeah,
me,
he-
but I guess I would. Yeah, look, Arcane's.
Sea of Thieves, I could
confirming
see him
that.
having a background of
That
that.
There
makes
you go.
sense,
Sea of
though.
Thieves is
Yeah.
hilarious.
And so that video is just going to be like, okay, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. It'll be like soothing
Yeah, it's
music
going to be a
in the
total yoga
background.
session. That's all
Yep.
it's going to be. Yeah. No, it's going to be
Yep.
based very, very deeply though in understanding the persistent universe as a whole, like
Yep.
the planets, the moons, the OMs, using the star map. Like a lot of these things that are kind of basic to a lot of us that most new players are not going to get. The things that you can do to kind of minimize your risk based on what you're doing and keep a better awareness out around you for things that could be potential dangers. So less about, getting into a fight and fighting your way through it, and more about keeping yourself safe through risk management, through awareness and understanding the situation that you're in versus
Yeah.
just, no, I'm just listening to my podcasts. And unless it's Griefers Pub, they can listen to Griefers Pub.
That's right.
Hey.
And just, kind of going through the verse obliviously, like most people do through life.
I kind of want to jump on the salt mine train here and congratulate Griefers Pub on our massive salt mining success through our previous video. Yeah, it was great.
I gotta see.
It's just the positive to negative reactions. It's so 50-50 because you have a lot of people that are like, yeah, PvP, I understand it. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where it's just like, he deserved it because he was griefing.
He
And,
deserved
just
it.
brings
Ban him.
but there was some actual, like, good engaging conversations in the comment section. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
do
that
appreciate
100%
that.
was. It was,
there
I
was some
enjoy
people
all
that
of
actually
it,
came there that like talk about that, and that's what we want. We want to
That's
bridge
good.
that gap a little bit more, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I was just going to shout out the University of Stanton once again. If anybody hasn't checked that out, the channel is right there. Go check them out. Go show some love.
Do it.
Subscribe. Make sure you like his latest video as well. He just released that recently. So,
I think teaching people the defensive mindset. That's why I've known him for quite a while. Wait, point the wrong way. Anyways, that's why I've known him for quite a while. Is trying to teach people that defensive mindset is so important, because you don't just pull out of the hangar with no shields and no destination, and especially when there's 2 or 3 red guys that are flying around the port. You have to have that defensive mindset. So
Yep.
I hate to sound like this, but it's almost your fault if you're going to just walk right into a very dangerous situation and not take any precautions whatsoever.
especially now with master modes, and you know how slowed down the flight model is. You have
Mhm.
all of that time to kind of prepare for what's coming ahead of you. If you can't take on that fight, you can actually just get out, unless there's like interdiction, then get good. Too bad, But yeah, I think that's actually all the questions that I had, unless anybody else had one.
I just want to point out
was
Under Fire is showing some love to Durgan, by the way.
Oh, Under Fire's in chat. What's up, dude?
Yeah, Under Fire's here. So is Nomad. So I think the last question actually I have for you, Durgan, is do you plan on expanding your channel to having we're talking about like series of episodes? Are you going to continue with the guides and then talking about, there was a few offset episodes talking about like the Avenger? No.
Oh, yeah. So,
And then a
one
few
of my
other ships?
initial ideas was kind of a "Is it good?" series on.
I was
just
trying to put
any
that together. My
ship.
brain's shutting down. I
Yeah,
feel it.
just basically, essentially a ship review. But again, unlike a lot of other channels that kind of go over how pretty it is, and how pretty it is, I want to actually focus on what makes that ship what it is and where it fits into the current flight model, the current patch, current game, and what use you can get out of it. Is it good for something you might need to do? And so
Maybe
that's
you
kind
could
of
call
what the
it-
top 3 ships guide was from the other angle. Is these are the things you're
Yep.
trying to do. These are the best ships for it. This one is going to be more. I think I'm probably going to end up moving it to community votes because it's a lot of ships to do those reviews on.
It is, yeah.
And honestly,
Yeah.
it's unless that ship is particularly relevant at the moment somehow, it's not going to get a ton of views right away. So it's not being super helpful.
Yeah.
But I think like getting a good community vote out once a month or so, and getting a ship out, a ship review out based on what people want to see. I think that's probably the way I'm going to go with it in the future.
Can you
If I could-
Actually, a starter ship.
can we dub it a CrossFit trainer reviews and then the ship? That would be a good
That's-
way to like introduce it. Just
you
saying.
know, that almost sounds good, and I wish I could find some parallel for that. Like, how do you even? Oh God!
Did you see that?
Oh,
Did you see
no.
that?
I wasn't even.
See that?
God dang! You're
I gotta call you out.
Wait, I missed
digging
it.
out my
So that's right.
subliminal tendencies.
I mean,
No, we continue.
I know. I didn't even see myself doing it. I was just like straight up flexing over the camera. Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, you
Sure,
know
that's a
it.
great
Can't
idea.
really make it work.
We'll drop Durgan's OF after the show, guys.
Oh yeah, that's
I
where
was
the real
gonna,
money comes
if
from.
I was gonna suggest too, though, and unless I missed this, I
Mhm.
don't think I missed it, but for the videos when you're like looking over like how a ship's application is, also future potential too, as how
Mhm.
as what I would suggest. Like, how would this be useful in the future with things like server meshing and stuff like that? And it's that would be my suggestion. I think would be pretty cool.
I try and be careful in
Yeah.
territory like that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I get too
You
deep
start
into
theory
playing what I
crafting.
call fantasy land. Yeah, there's theory crafting, and then there's fantasy land. You know, and that's where I try to draw a very careful line. Like, yes, if there is something imminently coming up that is a feature that we know it's going to work a certain way, and
Mhm.
we've seen we can extrapolate from where we are to that, that's
Hmm.
fine. If point number one question mark profit is the is the means of your theory crafting, then you're a little
No,
off
I'm
track.
thinking more
And so I
like more obvious things like you have a capital ship that's meant for carrying multiple light fighters, things like that. So where it would be a little more obvious, a little less theory crafting, right? Like where I think it would be good like this.
yeah, except the capital ships don't exist. So
Yeah.
There's not a lot of
That's
information
I
on them
guess
quite
that's a
yet.
good
that's
point.
that's where my
It's a
jump
Yeah.
very,
is. It's
very
like
yeah.
when we start dealing with ships that don't exist yet, that's
They
definitely a
exist.
hard
There's
line.
you can like
I try to
JPEG
keep
it.
things as empirical as possible. So
Yeah, fair
things that are
enough.
going to serve you in the immediate patch and maybe the next one if things stay on track the way we expect them to. I want it to be something that is, upfront and believable and useful in that moment and not, gazing too far into the distance.
Could I make
As
one
it
request actually?
Yeah.
Could you make like a stealth guide, because I feel like there is no stealth guide out there right now.
Wouldn't that technically be like theory crafting? Let's be fair.
No,
Because
just like
when
Kind
is
of.
stealth
the
actually
Until you
general.
working?
get data on stuff, and that's the hard thing with stealth is like the
It
data
is,
gets
yeah,
so
okay.
dodgy.
Like,
Mhm.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
the Hornet Ghost. Let's get some
mhm.
stealth
Ooh.
information on that one. Oh, it doesn't work. It's not even a ghost.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. But
that's
no,
what you end up. Yeah.
Itachi and I like have a history of this. Like he's tested this stuff ad nauseum
Mhm.
forever. Like he's worked
Mm.
with it with my
Hmm.
org and with the university. We've done a lot of that testing
Yeah.
And
and theory crafting.
even even if they don't change anything, there's just from one patch to the next, or even just server performance, it just all of a sudden it's sporadic. You know,
Everything
Yeah,
you
you,
think
like
you
you'd
know
be
is out
asking,
the
yeah.
window.
Like
yeah, you'll be asking
3.2.
somebody, you'll be asking somebody, hey, I'm at 8,000 meters, and they go, no, you're not.
Mhm. I remember when 3.23 dropped, reducing shields didn't do anything for like shields. It was just static, but thankfully
Mhm.
that's back to normal at this point. I
Hmm.
have a question from Arcane. He is asking for you, Durgan. How is Shadow Moses treating you recently?
Amazing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just for background context, when I shut my org down, I had an application in process with them. I'm not a full member at this point. I'm
Mhm.
in what they call their Moses Stardust, so kind of like evaluation,
Kind of like
that
a
sort of thing.
what's the proper word I'm trying to think of? Not affiliate, but like a prospect
Associate.
role.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's I think it's absolutely great. Like I'm in there at least a couple hours every day, almost just drilling, training. Um,
Cool.
there we get some other games in on the side occasionally, but like as a community, absolutely fantastic. I'm having a great time there.
Hmm.
Nice.
So this is a question that I actually have for you. Do you have any long-term goals with the YouTube channel that you're aiming for at the moment? Are you trying to go for any specific like viewer count, or like trying to go for like a weekly release where you can like get video after video just pumped out? I know it's a lot of work, especially with like
Yeah,
editing.
it would be. That honestly is not something I've really sat down and put any hard numbers to. No,
Yeah.
I feel like the way it's blown up in the span of 2 months is so much more than I ever could have expected. I expected
Yeah.
by this point to
Hmm.
maybe have a couple hundred subscriptions and a few hundred views and to still be cranking out videos hoping that they gain traction somewhere. I somehow cheat coded past all that stuff, and here we are. and I'm still figuring out what to do with it.
That's
Honestly,
pretty awesome.
but I am going to keep up on it, and I think it's probably, in the next month or so, it's probably a fair point to look at that and set some goals like that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I'm just gonna do one more shout out. I think we're gonna wrap up there, just because I'm not seeing any questions. And I just wanted to say, Durgan, thanks for setting aside your time on a Sunday evening to come chat with us and tell us a little bit about University of Stanton. If you guys haven't checked out the channel, once again, it is in the chat. Go click on that. Go subscribe. Go show some love to his latest video. Go like, comment. All of the above. And just wanted to say again, dude, it's great seeing you, and really appreciate all the time that you invest into this project. It's really cool.
You too. Thanks for having me.
With that being said, guys, we are going to raid out to someone else. If you have any recommendations for a streamer, let me know, and we will send you guys over that way.
Oh yeah, let's see if we got anything in here.
Input your vote now.
Input, yeah, just if you know that there's like a PvPer on or someone in the verse that you really enjoy watching, let us know, and we'll send you guys over to that. And I'm looking as well.
Looks like your buddy's on the tired.
We could send you guys over to Lay Tired. He's pretty chill.
Oh,
Let's
I
do
said
that.
it wrong. Lay tired, excuse me.
Lay Tired. It's like French, right?
Lay tired.
French Canadian. So yeah, I'll start the raid there. And we will send you guys over that way. With that being said, you guys have a great night, and thanks for watching. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Good night, guys.